It wasn't so long ago that Terence Smith was a correspondent here at Sunday Morning. He's out with a new memoir, 4 Wars, 5 Presidents, which includes a story about an encounter with the father of convicted assassin Sirhan Sirhan, whose recent bid for parole was denied by California Governor Gavin Newsom.
My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there. Thank you very much.
When Robert Kennedy was shot in Los Angeles on June 5th, 1968,
Would a doctor come right here?
I was thousands of miles away in Jerusalem, Israel, as a correspondent for the New York Times. I quickly learned that the shooter's father, Sirhan Sirhan Sr., lived in a small village in the West Bank. It was 10 p.m. and dark by the time I arrived at the Sirhan house. I rapped on the door, and a small man in his pajamas answered. I explained that I was a reporter, and typical of Palestinian hospitality, Sirhan Sirhan Sr. invited me in and insisted on making coffee. I asked him if he had heard that Kennedy had been shot. Yes, he said, and thought it was terrible news. I asked him if he had heard that the assassin had been caught on the spot. Yes, he said. I asked one more question. Had he heard the name of the captured assassin? No, he said. He'd gone to bed and had not heard it. Just stunned, I pushed my reporter's notebook across the kitchen table and asked him to write the names of his 5 sons. The 4th name in the list, Sirhan Sirhan Jr. I put my finger on that name and looked him in the eye and said, "That's the assassin." Sirhan was shocked, first incredulous, then angry. Sirhan Sirhan Jr. had been the best of his boys, he said. Then his face darkened, and he said, if he did it, he should hang. With more reporting, I learned the Sirhan family had been deeply troubled. The father had lost his job and blamed the Israelis. He beat his wife and sons, and the mother escaped by moving with the boys to California. Sirhan Sirhan Jr. grew up hating the Israelis and hating anyone who supported Israel. Anyone, that is, like Robert Kennedy. Should the 77-year-old assassin be granted parole after 5 decades in prison? As someone who admired Robert Kennedy, I can't claim to be objective. But I would say no. Not now, not in 18 months at the next parole hearing. I'd say the governor got it right.